start? Okay. Dear students, on behalf of GS College of Commerce, Varda, today we are presenting all of you an online session which comprises of two eminent resource persons from Andhra Pradesh. One of the resource person name is Dr.B.Sivakumar, who is now going to present you an online session on working capital management. Dr. B. Sivakumar has a great academic experience and having nearly 24 years experience in teaching with business management in different colleges and universities. He is a professor in Aditya Institute of Technology and Management in Srikakulam, and he was past head of the department also. He is also the convener and coordinator of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell of the Aditya Institute of Technology and Management, which is a autonomous institution and has been graded as the best autonomous engineering colleges in Andhra Pradesh. Today, we'll have a very happy and lucky association with Dr. B. Sivakumar by using his vast experience in the area of financial accounting, cost accounting, and management accounting, and business finance and entrepreneurship development. We have very much fortunate enough to have a great resource person for addressing all of us. So I request Dr. B. Sivakumar to continue his session by starting his demonstration as well as the online session on working capital management. I request Dr. B. Sivakumar to start his proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Dr. Somanath. Somanath, he is my colleague. So, working capital management. So, if you see human being without blood, we cannot see human being without blood. Without working capital, no business will exist. Please try to understand. So, without blood, no human being is there. Without working capital, no business is there. So, in every business, that is the reason working capital is said to be lifeblood of any business. Nothing but, for example, we are having one factory. So, we are having machinery. Already workers are there. Already power is there. So, working capital, without managing proper working capital, you cannot run the show. So, sir, what is working capital? Working capital is nothing but for our day-to-day working in a business, nothing but, sir, what we are going to do every day in the firm means we are purchasing raw material, we are meeting day-to-day expenses like salaries, wages, rents, advertisement, everything we are paying. For example, today you have to pay some bills, so you are not having money. So, nothing but if you are paying in time, everything means the value of the firm will be increased. The goodwill of the firm will be there. If you are not paying in time means definitely goodwill of the firm will be reduced. So, proper working capital, if you manage means definitely the goodwill of the firm will be very good. So, that is the reason there are 4 functions of financial management: capital structure decision, liquidity decision, dividend decision, investment decision. So, in any firm, if these 4 decisions, if you are managing properly means definitely the firm will earn more profits. So, liquidity decision, the liquidity you have to manage properly. If you manage liquidity means definitely the firm will not face any problem. So, please try to understand there are 2 concepts of working capital. The first one is gross concept of gross working capital. Second one is net working capital. Sir, what is the meaning of Gross working capital means, so please try to understand the firm's investment on total current assets is called gross working capital. If you remember what are the current assets means, cash in hand, cash at bank, stock, bills receivable, prepaid expenses, short-term investments. So these all the firm, sir, what is gross working capital means? Firm's investment on the total current assets is called gross working capital. Sir, what is net working capital is nothing but net working capital. It is a difference between current assets and current liabilities. You can call it as net working capital. So, sir, what are the items comes under current liabilities means current liabilities, expenses payable, tax payable, whatever the liabilities within 1 year you have to pay, those liabilities you can call it as current liabilities. So, sir, what is working capital means current assets minus current liabilities, you can call it as net working capital, or you can call it as a circular flow concept of working capital. Nothing but cash is required, cash we are going to convert into inventory, inventory again we are going to convert into receivables. In the three phases we require working capital. That is, the first phase is cash is required. Cash is there means we are going to purchase inventory. Or you can purchase on credit also. On credit purchases you can purchase inventory. So inventory with the help of workers we are going to convert into finished goods. So that inventory we are going to sell on cash, or we may receive directly cash sales or credit sales. If it is credit sales means receivables we are going to taking into consideration. So that is the gross working capital and net working capital. Another classification is there for a permanent working capital and temporary working capital. So, sir, what is permanent working capital? If you go to any factory or any firm, some amount is fixed. Those they have to maintain throughout the year. That you can call it as a permanent working capital. Cash is there. Cash, minimum cash we have to maintain, and cash we are going to convert into raw material. Raw material will be converted into work in process. Work in process will be converted into finished goods. And finished goods again we are selling on credit to the customers. So we are creating debtors. From the debtors again we are receiving bills receivable. Every firm minimum cash they have to maintain. They have to maintain minimum raw material. Every time the working process is going on, working process is there, and finished stock is there. In the godown also, three months equal sales or 2 months equal sales or 1 month equal sales. They are going to keep finished product in the godown, and that inventory we are going to sell on cash. Again we are receiving money, and at the same time we are selling on credit. So credit 1 month we may give, if 2 months we may give, or 3 months we may give. So based on the term we are going to give 1 month or 2 months, 3 months time credit period to the customers means after 3 months again we are going to receive money. And again from the debtors we are going to receive bills receivable. On the due date we are going to receive money. So these all are every firm some permanent working capital they have to maintain. Nothing but throughout year the same amount of permanent working capital they have to keep. So what is temporary working capital? For example, Deepavali is coming, some sweet firms are there, sweet manufacturing firms, some shops are there. In the time of Deepavali, they require more working capital because they have to produce more. So only 1 week they require some capital, more capital. So throughout year, they don't require that money. Only 1 week only they required some extra capital. That capital you can call it as after, for example, during Diwali, around 10 lakh rupees extra sales will be there. To manufacturing 10 lakhs equal worth of sales, some 7 lakhs or 6 lakhs raw material is required. So for that week, they are taking credit. After 1 week, after sale, they will pay this 7 lakhs to the suppliers. Nothing but throughout year, they don't require that working capital. That you can call it as temporary working capital. So if the time is going on, the permanent working capital will be increased in the firm. Temporary working capital is going to be increased. Nothing but please try to understand. So there are two, the classification of working capital on the basis of concept, on the basis of requirement. On the basis of concept, gross working capital, net working capital. Gross working capital is nothing but firm's investment on the total current assets, you can call it as gross working capital. Net working capital, the difference between current assets and current liabilities, you can call it as net working capital. Again, net working capital, again two types, that is positive working capital, negative working capital. If it is positive working capital means current assets are more than the current liabilities. If it is negative working capital means current liabilities are more than the current assets. So on the basis of periodicity of information, nothing but fixed or permanent working capital. Just now I told you throughout year, same amount of working capital you have to maintain. Nothing but there is a one principle is there. That principle you can call it as matching approach or hedging approach. Sir, what is matching approach? Matching approach is nothing but please try to see your balance sheet. Fixed assets are there, permanent current assets are there, fixed assets and permanent current assets must be financed with long-term sources. Temporary working capital must be financed with short-term sources. If you are the finance manager in any company, the main responsibility of the finance manager is the matching approach or hedging approach he is supposed to follow. Sir, why? Nothing but throughout year, whatever the permanent working capital is required, they have to maintain throughout the year. Nothing but that is the reason they are calling it as a permanent working capital. Fixed assets of the company plus permanent working capital, they must finance with long-term sources. They may these fixed assets and permanent current assets, these two must be financed. Short-term financing. So that is most important. They have to taking into consideration. So if it is temporary working capital must be financed with short-term sources only. Just now I told you temporary working capital must be financed with current liabilities. Nothing but from the creditors only. Just now I told you during Deepavali, whatever the excess working capital is required, we must finance with the short-term sources only, not with the long-term sources. So that is you're supposed to understand. That is the classification of working capital. So please try to understand what is the significance of working capital management. So what is the significance of the working capital management means? Definitely, as a manager, every time you must consider what is the liquidity risk, what is the opportunity loss risk. These two, as a manager, every time you have to taking into consideration. For example, every day your firm requires only 50,000 only every day working capital. For example, you want to be safe side, you are keeping around 10 lakhs every day means that is wrong. So liquidity risk. So cost of liquidity, cost of illiquidity also you have to maintain. Sometimes some firms they will maintain very less inventory. Nothing but they are losing opportunity. They are losing opportunity. In our area, one paper mill is there. They are maintaining 2 years working capital in their godown. 2 years equal production working capital they are maintaining in the godown. So nothing but 2 years if they are not purchasing raw material also, their production will not be stopped. Their production will not be stopped. Nothing but so they require more working capital. That is unnecessary. Another paper mill they may keep only 1 month equal production raw material in their godown. So as these all working capital management, it entirely depends on the policies of the firm. So as a every time as a manager, you must identify what are the principles of working capital management. Nothing but how much cash we have to keep, what is the amount, what is the raw material we are going to maintain in our godown, what is the working process we are going to maintain, what is the finished product we are going to maintain in our godown. Nothing but already finished goods are there in the godown. How many months of equal sales we are going to keep in our godown. That one also you have to taking into consideration. For example, we are selling on credit. So selling on credit, shall we give only 1 month credit to our customers, or 2 months, or 3 months? That policy you have to take into consideration. For example, if you are giving 3 months credit means the firm requires more working capital. If you are giving only 15 days raw material means the firm requires less working capital. So these all are depends on the policies of different working capital items. And another one is, sir, what is the importance of working capital means to carry on productive and distributive activities smoothly. So, for example, workers are there. Last 1 month onwards, we are not paying workers' wages. Last 1 month onwards, we are not paying power bill. So the liquidity we are not maintaining properly. For smooth running of the production, distributive activities will not run smoothly. So that is the reason, if you want to run the production properly, if you want to distribute activities properly means you have to manage working capital properly. And to know the level of investment in current assets. Just now I told you, our competitor, they are giving 3 months raw material, 3 months credit to their customers, but we decided only 1 month credit to our customers. At that time, you have to decide nothing but what is the minimum level on cash required, what is the credit sales, what is the minimum level of current assets required. To know the level of inventory in the current assets, these all we are going to understand. Just now I told you what is the cost of liquidity, what is the cost of illiquidity also we are going to know. That is the reason working capital significance is there in every firm. Nothing but cost of liquidity, cost of illiquidity. Suddenly today you required 1 lakh rupees today, for example. So who is giving, who is ready to give 1 lakh at a lower interest rate you are going to search. So that is cost of illiquidity. So how much interest we have to pay if deficit of money is there. If 1 lakh rupee is there means cost of liquidity, nothing but you are unnecessarily maintaining 1 lakh. If you required only 10,000 only means remaining 90,000 you can purchase raw material, you convert into productive uses, you will earn more money on that one. That is the reason in every firm, if it is small firm or big firm, working capital management is most important. Why? Because working capital management, just now I told you at the time of starting, this is the lifeblood of business. So cash is there. If cash is not there, bank OD we will take. From that one, we can purchase raw material. So raw material we are going to convert into work in process. Working process we are going to convert into finished goods. And finished goods again we are selling. And at that time, if we are selling on cash means immediately we are receiving cash. If we are selling on credit means how many days of credit shall we give? Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? Or is it 90 days? Is it 120 days? How many days of credit we are going to allow to the customers? That is also we are going to taking into consideration. And at the same time, here, and what is the how much credit we are receiving from the suppliers, raw material suppliers? For example, we are selling on cash, we are purchasing raw material on credit means we require less working capital. So please try to understand. And another one is, what are the principles of working capital? So principles of working capital, there are three principles are there. The first principle is principles of optimization. I already know every manager, his aim is to maximize the earning per share of the company. To maximize the earning per share of the company, definitely they must invest on the working capital management. Then only they will earn more profits and all things. And here, and another one is principles of worthwhile investment in current assets. For example, if you invested on fixed assets around 1 crore, you invested around 30% investment must be made on the current assets only. Then only you can manage those fixed assets. No, sir, I want to invest on fixed assets only. Current assets, I don't want to investment means definitely that will be very nothing but it is wrong decision. So another one is just now I told you there are another one is principle of suitability. If it is principle of suitability, again three approaches are there: hedging approach or matching approach. Second one is conservative approach. Third one is aggressive approach. So just now I told you, if it is matching approach or hedging approach, fixed assets, permanent current assets must be financed with long-term sources, and temporary current assets must be financed with short-term sources. Sir, what is the meaning of aggressive approach? If it is conservative approach nothing but if it is the manager is going to finance fixed assets plus permanent current assets and 50% of temporary working capital or temporary current assets also they are going to finance with long term sources because they want to be placed safe side. That is the reason they are nothing but just now I told you it is if it is hedging approach, fixed assets and permanent current assets must be financed with long term sources. If it is conservative approach, fixed assets and permanent working capital and part of temporary working capital also going to finance with long term sources. So, sir, what is the meaning of aggressive approach? Aggressive approach nothing but please see this one permanent fixed assets plus part of permanent current assets they are going to finance with long term sources. Part of permanent current assets plus temporary current assets, the part of temporary current assets plus part of permanent current assets they are going to finance with short term sources, nothing but they are going to take risk, nothing but they are violating the rules of hedging approach or matching approach. That is also wrong. The firm they have to At the time of investment on the current assets, they must consider hedging approach or matching approach. So, sir, please try to understand what are the determinants of working capital. So there are many determinants of working capitals are there. So, for example, you visited one cell shop. So you want to calculate what is the working capital he is maintaining. Or you visited one factory. What is the working capital they are maintaining? Nothing but you at the time of working capital estimation, you must forecast what is the cash requirement, what is the receivable requirement, what is the inventory requirement. You have to forecast all these. So, as a manager, at the time of forecasting of the working capital, you must understand what are the factors determining working capital. So, the first factor determining the working capital is nature of business. Nature of business, please try to understand. If it is service oriented business, they require more fixed assets, less working capital. Why? Because, for example, railways are there. Railways, for railway line, this bogies cost is very high. Once they started running the train means they required less working capital because they are getting money by traveling the passengers. So if it is manufacturing, they require fixed assets less amount, working capital requirement is more. For example, I am manufacturing some chalk pieces. Machinery cost is around 1 lakh. So 1 lakh is less amount. So working capital, plaster of Paris, all the remaining raw material I have to maintain more. That requirement will be around 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs. So please try to understand nature of the business. If it is public utility or service oriented means they required fixed capital is less fixed capital, more working capital is required. If it is trading firms and if it is manufacturing firms, fixed assets requirement is less, working capital requirement is more. And another determinant is second one, size of the business. So, size matters. So, based on the production, you must maintain the working capital. For example, I decided every year I want to manufacture 50,000 units. But you are also manufacturing the same product. You want to produce around 1 lakh units per annum. Another person is there, he want to produce 10 lakh units. So if the size is increasing, working capital requirement is increasing. If the size is less, working capital requirement is less. If the size is more, they require more working capital. And another one is the firm production policy. So firm's production policy also, it is also determining the working capital requirement. For example, every day we required only 10,000 cash only. But we decided, okay, we want to keep 20,000 every day. 10,000 you are keeping excess. The policy also you have to consider. And raw material. Just now I told you in our Srikakulam district, one factory is keeping 2 years raw material in their bottom. So they require more working capital. Another paper mill is there. They are keeping only 1 month equal raw material in their godown. They require less working capital. This company require more working capital because 2 years equal sales production they are keeping in the godown means the production policy also entirely depends on the policy of the company, the working capital it prevails. And at the same time, here the firm's firm's credit policy. For example, just now I told you, I am giving 90 days credit to my customers. So once on January 1st I sold, means on 1st April or 2nd April he will pay money to me. So 90 days credit I am giving. The firm credit policy also, and it is also one of the determining factor for the working capital. For example, you are giving only 1 month credit to 1 month credit to your customer. For example, after 90 days I am receiving money. After 30 days you are receiving money. So please compare as per the credit policy also. Nothing but the policies are two types: credit policy, stringent credit policy, liberal credit policy. So stringent credit policy means only, sir, I want to give only 15 days only. So if it is stringent credit policy means you require less working capital. If it is liberalized credit policy, I am giving 120 days credit to my customer. 120 days credit to my customer means, please try to understand, they required more working capital, because if it is stringent credit policy means they required less working capital. If it is liberal credit policy means they required more working capital. And another one is growth and expansion of business. Sometimes if the sale is increasing, so working capital investment also you have to increase. For example, last year our sales are 1 crore. So working capital is 30 lakhs we invested. This year 2 crore sales is there. Definitely, sir, I want to maintain the same 30 lakhs means it is not possible. So if the expansion of business, growth of business is there means working capital investment also you must go for that one. If the sales is increasing means investment in the fixed current assets are needed. So investment of the working capital is must be required. So another determinant factor is profit margin. Profit margin, for example, I am manufacturing one product for 10 rupees, I am selling for 100 rupees. On each and every unit, I am earning 90 rupees profit. On each and every unit, I am earning 90 rupees profit means my here I am earning more profit, because for selling every unit I am earning more profit means definitely the firm required less working capital. Nothing but if the profit margin is more means working capital requirement is low. If the profit margin is high means requirement of working capital is low. If the profit margin is low means, for example, I am manufacturing the product for 99 rupees. I am selling for 100 rupees. On each and every unit, I am earning 1 rupee only. At that time, I required more working capital. So nothing but here the profit margin, and that is also one of the determinant factor of the working capital. And another one is dividend policy. Nothing but if the firm is declaring more dividend means requirement of working capital is more. If the firm is not declaring that much of dividend means definitely the requirement of working capital is less. So please try to understand what are the dividend policy rules. Dividends must be declared from the current year's profits only. Dividends must be paid in cash only. Cannot be declared from the past profits. So these are rules of dividend. There is a relation between dividend policy and working capital management also. If the firm is declaring more dividend means they require more working capital. If the firm is not declaring dividend, they are keeping entire dividends as retained earnings means, so working capital requirement is very less. That is also you please try to understand. If the profit margin is more, requirement of working capital is less. If the profit margin is less, requirement of working capital is more. If the dividend they are declaring more means the requirement of working capital is more. If the dividend they are not declaring means working capital requirement is less. So another one is depreciation policy also. Nothing but, so please try to understand there is a relation between depreciation policy and at the same time working capital also. Please try to understand profit before depreciation, interest, tax, PBDIT. So if depreciation we are deducting means from the profits means payment of tax will be less. If the depreciation we are not providing means, so requirement of working capital entirely depends on the depreciation policy of the firm. So depreciation policy also you have to decide. So PBDIT, profit before depreciation, interest and tax. So depreciation policies are very good means definitely the requirement of working capital will be less. If the depreciation policy is not good, they have to pay more tax, the requirement of working capital will be more. That is also there. And another one is operating efficiency of the firm. So nothing but the firm, their operating efficiency is very high. So, sir, what does it mean? Operating efficiency means nothing but at the time of using the raw material, they are controlling the workers for using of the raw material. Nothing but the production manager, they are controlling workers for not wasting the raw material. At the time, unnecessary power usage they are not going for. Operating efficiency is high means requirement of working capital is low. If the operating efficiency is low means they require more working capital. Nothing but whatever the expenses are there, entire operating expenses they are controlling means requirement of working capital is less. For example, unnecessary power they are wasting workers. Nobody is controlling means power bill come very high. They have to pay more power bill. So production manager he is acting. Whenever workers they are wasting power means immediately he is interfering. He is controlling workers not to waste power means definitely current bill will come very less. Current bill will come and raw material also. Production manager he is controlling all the workers for not wasting the raw material. At the time here the wastage will be less means working capital requirement is also less. If the wastage is more means working capital requirement will be more. And another one is coordination of activities in the firm. Nothing but there is a perfect coordination in all the departments in that firm means working capital requirement will be very less. There is a coordination between in every organization, coordination is required between every department, production department, marketing department, finance department, HR department, IT and ES department. In all these departments, coordination is required. If the coordination is very good in all the department means definitely the requirement of working capital will be low. There is no coordination between the raw materials department and production department. There is no correlation. There is no coordination between production department and accounts department. There is no coordination between production department and marketing department. If that coordination is not there means definitely they require more working capital. That is also one of the problems. And sometimes access to money market. So sometimes if the firm is having more image means they may get money today. For example, if Reliance required 100 crores today, within half an hour they will get 100 crores because that firm is very good. They are having very good name in the market. So in your area, small firm is there. They require 10,000 also. Nobody is ready to give that 10,000 to that small firm. So access to money market if everybody is ready to give loan to us means at that time that is also one of the determinant factor of the working capital. And another one is business fluctuations. Please try to understand. There are sometimes boom will be there, recession will be there. At the time of boom, heavy demand for products are there. At that time, we require more working capital. During recession, demand for products will not be there. At that time, definitely demand is not there. That the working capital requirement entirely depends on the business fluctuations. So during COVID, that much of demand is not there. Every factory they closed. Why? Because recession is there. That much of demand is not there. All over India, around 70% factories they close. Why? Because people they are not having money. That is the reason demand is not there. They are not producing. If it is boom means heavy demand will for products will be there because people they are having money. At that time the factory also they have to produce more production, so they required more working capital. And another one is technological development. So if the technology is developed means requirement of working capital will be low. If the technology is not developed means definitely working capital requirement is more. So if you compare 10 years, 20 years back, this much of communication facilities are not there, cell phones are not there, only land phones are there. If you want to give order, it is very difficult. Now communication facilities, technological developments are increased like anything. So that is the reason definitely the requirement of working capital is less. So for example, we are using old technology in our factory. So old technology means they require more raw material, more labor is required. So quality of the product also we will get that much of tech quality we will not get. So latest technology we implemented in the factory. So latest technology nothing but they require less working capital, they require less raw material, they require less labor. Cost of production is also very less. If you are going for if you are going for technological developments, that is the reason as a manager, as an entrepreneur, every time you must go for latest technology. If the latest technology means we are going to produce the product at a lower cost, we are going to earn more profits. We require less raw material, we require less workers because of technological development and all. And another one is transport facilities also. So transport facilities are there means working capital requirement is less. If the transport facilities are not there means working capital requirement is more. For example, I'm producing chalk pieces in Srikakulam. Plasto Paris it is available in Pakistan border, Booz area. If the transport is there within 1 week, I will receive the raw material means no problem. I can maintain only 10 days equal raw material in my godown. After 10 days again, I will receive another truck. So transport facility is not there means every 6 months one truck will come means at that time entire 6 months production I have to keep in my godown. I required more working capital. So transport facilities and communication facilities, these two also, it is going to affect the working capital requirement and all things. And another one is import policy. Sometimes, for example, we are producing one product, we are importing from other country that raw material. So our entire production will be depends on the exempt policy of the government. So if the government, if they import, if they imposed some tax on that raw material means we require more working capital. So the government is not imposed any tax on importing raw material means definitely we require less raw material. And another one is taxation policies. For example, 2 years back, tax rate is 10%. The current last year it is increased to 20%. This year, the government suddenly increased it to 30%. So tax policy also it is also one of the determinants of the working capital, because if the tax rate is increased by the government means we required more working capital. If the tax rate is reduced by the government, 3 years back it is 30%, last year 20%, current year 10% means definitely you require less working capital because tax policy is going to be reduced. So please, sir, what is working capital means? Nothing but as a manager, you have to manage cash. You have to manage inventory. Inventory is nothing but raw materials, work in process, finished goods. These all you have to manage. So receivables management, nothing but, for example, if you give credit to any customer, after 90 days he is supposed to pay. If you are not asking money after 90 days also, another 150 days he will take time to pay that amount. So you must initiate action to collect your receivables. So receivables management, inventory management, and at the same time management of cash, management of payables. These four you have to manage properly. Then only you can manage working capital properly. Management of cash, management of inventory, management of receivables, management of payables. So you must play float. Float nothing but, for example, if you want to, you must motivate customers to pay early to the firm. But if you want to pay to the suppliers means you pay on the due date. So that will lead to more working capital. So nothing but you collect as early as possible from the receivables, from the debtors, but you pay on the due date only to the creditors. It will lead to more working capital. Why? Because you are going to earn more float. You can play float by working capital management. So definitely that is the most important significant of working capital is there in every firm. You have to, you must go for proper management of cash. You must proper management of inventory, proper management of receivables, proper management of payables. Then I told you working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. You can manage total working capital properly. So you must, today I told you what is working capital, what are the concepts of working capital, gross concept, net concept, so permanent working capital, temporary working capital, what are the principles of working capital, what are the factors affecting working capital, what are the, these all I told you. So I thank your Somnath sir for giving me this opportunity. Somnath, Anna, hello?
Me?
Anna, I'm hearing. No problem.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Shivakumar, sir. We have a very good and efficient lecture with your all experience and knowledge in the area of working capital management. Our students are really blessed to have your overall exposure and experience in the area of working capital management. We also request you to accept a similar type of our request in the future also, as and when we require some assistance from you for making our students well upgraded and to have the potentiality of gaining the knowledge in the management accounting, business finance, cost accounting, and financial accounting also. And on behalf of our college, I thank you. And now I hand over the mic to Dr. Parishkut Agarwal sir, who is the coordinator of our college, IQAC department. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Sir, namaste, sir.
Namaskar, sir. The session was very informative, having a very good practical example. And if a faculty is teaching a subject of financial management, it can correlate it with what is actually happening in the industry. According to me, this is the most live or practical subject which the student should learn, so that they can be easily know how the decision making is done relating to the finance in the industry. I was very well listening to you, and I was very happy that you had put it so much of life example that the student should know the real concept behind this working capital management. Thank you, sir, for this informative session.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Anna, thank you very much. And
Anna, thank you.
thank you very much. Bye. I hope you have been really made us a comfortable way of addressing our students as well as ourselves also. And today I have seen all your experience and exposure on the area of working capital management in the case of business finance. Thank you once again. All the best.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Good morning, dear students. Today we have another eminent person, Dr.K. Venugopal, who has in India experience as well as outside India experience also. He worked in Gondar University in South Africa for a span of 5 years in the Department of Business Management as a professor in business administration. Apart from that, he was my colleague a few years back. And when I came here, he was shifted to several colleges and several institutes. and he was an eminent person in the areas of business management, particularly in the areas of business communication, strategic management, as well as in marketing management. He has completed his doctorate in marketing management, and he visited so many colleges and institutes and colleges, universities. He was a resource person for more than 20 institutes across the state of Andhra Pradesh, and recently has conducted with the association of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Srikakulam, an international e-conference also, and he was actually the big hand behind the successful conduct of the international e-conference. And today we have a very good opportunity to listen Dr.K. Venugopal sir, and with his vast experience in the area of business management. And one thing I have also forgotten to share with all of you, dear students, he is an expert in dealing with management games, and he was a resource person for several entrepreneurship development programs also, and he has conducted more number of major research projects and written n number of books in the area of business management, and n number of international and national conferences he attended, and published more than 80 national level and international level papers and articles, and wrote some books also. And today, with his vast experience, we requested Dr. K. Venugopal sir to address our students and get his benefit to share all his experience with all our students as a part of this online session. And I request Dr. Venugopal sir to start his session by saying few words about his experience and exposure also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. K.V. Somanath sir, whom I would really call in colloquial manner as Anna, that is brother. Thank you very much for getting me associated with all your students, and I have the high honor to be a part of your continuous sessions. As a matter of fact, I am also very much interested to interact with the different groups all over India, and as a part of this, the opportunity being given to me by Dr. K.V. Somanath and Chavan Saab, I really appreciate for their efforts. So, coming to group dynamics, I think I can start, and by thanking K.V. Somanath sir to tell a few good words which I am founded, and thank you very much for your kind words, and we shall start the lesson. Shall I start, sir? Yeah. Well, everybody knows about the difference between group and individual, because you just can try something that can be done by you yourself, that is as an individual, and something that you would like to do along with the group, and you make a comparison. Make a comparison as far as your spirit is concerned. Make a comparison as far as the process is concerned. Make a comparison of the results that are going to come is concerned. Nowadays, every company, every organization is talking about. Previously, when I was working for Dabur, it is something around 25 years back, we used to count individual performance, and we used to be highlighted more on the individual performances, more highlighted. But as far as after 10 years, means before 10 to 15 years, the word called team is being highlighted rather than individual. And afterwards, individual. In the team and within the team, individual may be highlighted. But as far as the consideration of corporates is absolutely, exclusively, exceptionally, irresistibly on team, on the group of people, on the group of individuals, which is generally called as a team, as a group. People are much confused about group and team. Team is an official, absolutely an official term. Group plus a leader is generally been called as a team. Nowadays, everybody is telling to develop the team, to build the team, to count, measure the team performance. Even in some posts, there are team leaders. Team is being highlighted. Performance as a whole being taken into count. So in this particular era, whatever the task is being given, whatever the goals are being determined, it is determined on the basis of the group achievement, on the basis of team, at the standpoint of good number of people getting together and to accomplish that particular work as well as to achieve the results. With this particular introduction, I don't think I need to tell each and every point in detail since the time given for me is 1 hour. And I think I am going to tell you very important things with possible examples. Group dynamics, as you know, the group consisting of 2 or more people, and the goals are being shared, as I told you earlier, and everyone wants to become a member of that particular group, and they see themselves as a member in that particular group. And very important thing, and the highlighted thing, even in the theories that has been conveyed, that interaction is highly important. When you are, as an individual, you are isolated. As an individual, you talk to yourself. As an individual, you surf your mind and get the maximum output that you can get. But whenever you enter into a group, you should absolutely match your brain with others, match your ideas with others, match your communication with others. How do you really match? Interaction. Very important thing is interaction, and once you get yourself prepared to interact with somebody, then you are a team player. Otherwise, you are not a team player. Interaction is highly solicited. Everyone who is going to join in any organization, for that matter, there may be an organization of there may be a lack of anything. There may not be something, but there won't be any kind of a job without getting interacted with your colleagues, with your team members. Because of the most of the targets in any sector for that matter are being given for the team as a whole. Then afterwards it will be counted how many of you people as an individual has participated and how many are really absent. Then comes the lack of interaction. Then comes the lack of confrontation. So these 4 are very, very important as far as to define group. These 4 are defined by the group. Group is defined with all these things. Why do people join in groups? Basically, why are you going to join in groups? You can be isolated at your home, closing your doors. You can be isolated. It is not solidarity that I am talking about. It is isolation I am talking about. Isolation is the word which is pretty famous now during Corona time. And I'm sure how many of you people have been struggled a lot without getting together or without meeting either extended families or friends or colleagues or any other groups. Isolation has been so far horrible. It is all talking about why do people join means getting away from isolation. They all need sense of security. When you are not with the people, I am sure that you are not secure yourself. You may tell that I am alone and I can do myself, but inside, introspection will always tell about your insecurity feelings, and out of high insecurity, you are just superficially talking about your security levels. I am sure, and I have tested many employees as such, and the results have become quite evitable that security levels are very, very low when they are not with the groups. When it comes to the status, how do you really determine your status when somebody is not there in and around you? My son has come and come with a cup, and he has told that he has got third prize in that particular running race. I was very happy. Oh, third place, that is pretty good. How many of you have participated in that race? He said 3. Amongst the 3 people, he got third prize. Then the comparison comes, then the status comes, then the position is valid. In fact, what I would really like to tell you is, where is the word of status when somebody is not there in competence with you? So you should absolutely have colleagues with you, have competitors with you, have associates with you to make yourself or to define your real status. You want to show your status before whom? You need the word amongst when you talk about the status. Yes, a lot of people who live for status. Everybody, in fact. We always see and we always worry more about our economic stability of our family. So as a hut will become what called two-store building. A two-store building may become a palace. These are all the symbols of status which we would like to show in the society. As like as in the organization, you would like to show the status by comparing that the performance of mine is better than others' performance. Then comes self-esteem. Self-esteem is something like what you call prestige, what you call accountability, and you always think about right top level esteem. It is all talking about how you respect yourself and how do you address yourself in the society, which is very very important. And when you are in gathering, what is your position? When you are alone, what is your position? That's what's your self-esteem, and your self-esteem is being increased when you increase the size of the group or when you get associates with another groups also. Then comes the politics, the power. Don't think that the politics are absolutely the real politics. There are politics in the organizations, and there are politics in the organizations for chairs, the designations, and in government offices, the power which is being played is too what you call dynamic. But as far as government or what you call private organizations, there are a lot of norms, there are certain practices, there is a little bit rationality. But still, yet, power is a big role being played. A lot of conflicts that you see amongst the groups, they are all originated out of power and politics. Both amalgamated together will result into a lot of conflicts and with the same help of group, with the same group's efforts and management efforts, the conflict resolutions are also being taken place. And altogether, final achievement is what? It is a synergetic value. All put together in the group, as a group, what you achieve, the goal, which is very, very important, and the goal is being achieved by not you alone. It is a team's goal being achieved. The goal being achieved, the goal may be determined as one by corporate, but goal being shared by all the people and getting interacted and participation with all these things, and you will achieve your goal means it is team's goal achieved. And this is what the group. And when it comes to dynamics, yeah, dynamic is the word. We can call it as a force. Dynamics are there everywhere. Wherever the people are there, the dynamics are more. That is what the major difference being found between machine and man. Where the manpower is there, the dynamics are much, 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 much more. Basically, the psychology and psychological field of an individual is basically dynamic enough. That's why when we talk about group and group dynamics, we have already defined group, and group dynamics is concerned, it is more of it is attitudinal and behavioral characteristics of a group as a whole. Yes, we can just evaluate the attitude and behaviors as well as demographical, as well as psychological characteristics of an individual. But such kind of individual getting together in a group means we should evaluate the group dynamics, means group behavior, group attitude, and of course group characteristics, which is very, very important. And as I told you earlier in my previous slide, the most important thing in the group is interaction. To what extent you are getting interacted? Interaction is for everything. It is not that the interaction for nothing is being required. Interaction is to be there for everything, for every decision making, for every activity to be done. The interaction is initiated by the organization. And interaction should be initiated by the group and group members. You just cannot be isolated as far as getting participated in the interaction is concerned. If you are left alone, either if you are willingly or intentionally not getting participated in that particular group, you are the you are supposed to pay for that. The influences, there are three influences which are to be taken into consideration. That is, your personality alone is different. Your personality amongst groups are different. Absolutely, I am telling. It is not my word, and it is the word of so many philosophers getting together. That the stages, if you take Freudian stages of personality, if you take stages are changing according to the sex as well as according to the group of the people also. Most Freudian theories have told like that. CAD theory, even if you consider the CAD theory, they have to. It has been told in that particular CAD theory like that only. Personality as an individual and personality being reflected. How reflective your personality really is amongst the group is very, very important. Power, as I told you, power is playing an important role, and your behavior outcome amongst the group is very, very important. How do you eat? Generally, common sense applications. The meal that you take at your home, very freaky, very casual, general. But at the same time, if you really give me, for example, if you take the same kind of meal at five-star hotel, you will focus not more on the food, more on the formalities, hypnosophism. Am I right? So at home, you will focus on the food. At a hotel, you are paying and your focus is more on the formalities. How you will eat, how many people are watching you, how your dress code is, and how your gaits really are while eating. These are all called hypnosophism. See the behavioral outcome. Likewise, when you are formally developed and when you are in the formal work and when you are in the informal work, your attitude is completely different. Your personality changes. Your personality drifts for a short period of time. Likewise, your communication. Likewise, your decision making skills. Likewise, your ideology. Everything is in the group is completely different. And believe me, all these three things are very highly important when the group process is on. So, when you talk about group, it's all important how groups are formed. I will come in the next slide. And how the group structure really is. There are four important things which where the structure is defined, and how group is going to proceed and how they will function. When it comes to the group development, I'll be so short as far as this particular theories are concerned, and the theories has got a lot more explanation. But in brief, if you want me to tell, classical theory is all about how an individual or individuals completely get involved in the activities, interactions, and also the sentiments. When you want to share something, you need to absolutely have it is an organization, and you cannot avoid activities. You should absolutely have a different kind of activities. It may be organizational activities, formal. It may be out of organizational activities, informal also. And each and every activity has got pros and cons, has got advantages and disadvantages. To support them, either to support them or to reject them, you need to take part. You need to open your mouth. You need to go for ice breaking. That is nothing but to talk about interaction. And mind you, the sentiments are different. Organizational sentiments are there, individual sentiments are there, social sentiments are there. And we should give value to the sentiments of these three based on activities, based on interactions, and based on sentiments. This theory is developed and we will share a lot of common activities and have more interaction to develop the grouping activities, grouping attitudes. And I have seen a lot of people, right, who are very, very accurate and who are highly participative in group activities and the interactions, will not leave the group, will always be involved in the group. If it is more dynamic, they will enter into politics also, group politics. There are advantages and disadvantages, but I'm sure that though there are a lot of disadvantages also, you cannot just get away from that completely. Because organizational goals and are associated with that, are much dependent on that. Next one is social exchange theory. It is all talking about mutually beneficial exchanges. When you trust someone, when you feel that the obligation to be given by your friend to be obliged, this is nothing but to talk about an exchange. You will do whatever your friend wants you to do, and he will do whatever you want him to do. That's what. It is a kind of I'm okay, you are okay. It is called as how do you really expect? In your classroom, you can just evaluate who is going to mutually helpful to you or who is eligible for mutually beneficial exchanges. What? How do you determine? You will determine on the basis of trust that you have on your friend. People, you are going for combined study. There in the organization, we go for combined duty. That's all. An assignment has been given by my boss. I am HOD. I am head of the department, and I should absolutely give that particular assignment to my subordinates, or along with my subordinates, I should do that assignment. I should accomplish that assignment. Whom should I give that assignment? And if my subordinate asks, why should we do? What is the mutual beneficial exchanges? I should absolutely bargain in such matter. And moreover, that assignment which you are giving or exchanging, and here the exchange is not job exchange, it is a social exchange. Social exchange, because of social exchange, the word called mutual is used, trust is used, felt obligation is used. These are all related to your psychological agreement with that particular person whom you believe. It is a kind of perception of relationship. Your relationship with all people are not alike. Even in organization that you work, that you are going to work tomorrow, all people are not connected to you. Only a few people are connected to you. And whenever some job is to be done on a mutual relationship, you will assign to the person whom you believe more on. When it comes to the social identity, as I have already told, status and esteem are related with that, and sense of identity as well as social esteem based upon the exciting group. Group is outstanding. When the group is very weak, you don't seek for the status or self-esteem. You don't need identity because identity is not there for group itself. That's why people wants to join. People are in a confusion to take two decisions. There are two jobs. One job, an organization with highly reputed name, but with low designation. Second job, it is a small organization which doesn't have reputation at all, but the designation is like manager. here assistant manager. People have always been in a confusion. What to prefer? To prefer the designation or to prefer the organization? If the working group is dynamic enough, is outstanding enough, salient enough, then everybody tries to come to limelight in that particular group. It is called pioneering. And everybody wants to pioneer in the group. Everybody wants to top the list in the group in any activity for that matter. Everybody cannot be a leader in all activities. Somebody is a leader in communication. Somebody may be a leader in decision making. Somebody may be a leader in events. Somebody may be a leader in public service activities. So this is called social identity. Here the social identity was among us, the good group. What your membership is meaning for? Are you identified by the group? If you are identified by the group, as a what? As a person of what kind? That's what social identity is all about. The group may be identified generally. For identification, initial identification will be done on the basis of demographics only. If age is less, he is identified as a child. Female and male. If female is there, everybody respects. Female are to be respected as general norms. And culturally, they may be identified. If I am a South Indian, you see my bindya. And if at all I come to North India, seeing my bindya, everybody may have all the chances to ask me that I am from North, I am from South. I am culturally absolutely identified. But when it comes to third one, that is organizationally, then comes your performance, then comes your active participation in the organization, then comes your identification in one aspect or expertise, your expertise in one aspect, which is very important, which is identified in fact. When it comes to group, there are two groups as in a broad sense, that is formal and informal. What do you exactly mean by formal? Formal is established by organization, quite formal. Informal, other than the organizational goals, but it has got a strong influence. It may be called as an unofficial group. Informal is called as an unofficial group, but though it is unofficial, it is important. It has got a strong influence because what is the difference between formal groups and informal groups? Informal groups participation is with high energy, and formal groups participation is generally low because of the work stress, because of there is always two kinds of the people, X and Y, as told by the philosopher McGregor. And they always are sick of job. Those that are sick of job, their attitude is very negative while doing any job. The assignments are being given. They think that the work is so insipid. They are lazy. They feel lazy. But my question is only one: will the same person participate in the same way in the activities that are related to informal groups? No. At the same time, Diwali events are being conducted. The person who is not interested to work in the organization may have all the chances to work actively in Diwali celebrations, which are of course out of other than organizational goals, which is not of course an organizational goal. It is an informal group activity, you can call it as. So formal groups much associated with organizational norms, organizational rules, regulations, strategies, disciplinary. And in this, you can just count it as command group. When it comes to command group, where the reporting system, you are supposed to report to your superior, and you should absolutely do as per the guidelines being given by your superior. That's all. That is all. This is called command group. When it comes to task group, it is a time bounded task. One task is being given, time bounded for a short period of time. The task is being given because of the tasks are changing time to time. And that the task being given by the boss will be furnished by a group of individuals. And that is called task group and task related to organizational goals. It is not out of organization. When it comes to functional group, it is non-specified time. Time is not specified. When you talk about task group, okay, recruiting a person from your college, the campus studies are to be conducted by L&T, and L&T people have come, and that assignment, recruiting people from your college, is assigned by some recruitment team. This task is assigned to them, and they were asked to come to your college and recruit the persons and come back. That is for the short time. But recruitment process in the HR as a department, it continuously does. It continuously conducts this kind of recruitment or training activities as a whole throughout the year. They focus on function. It is a common general function being done every year, every now and then. That is functional group. So there is a slight difference as far as task group is concerned, which is task is narrow, which is very, very narrow, and in specific you can talk about narrow range of goals. When it comes to functional group, it is a specific goal and unspecified time. When you talk about marketing department, when you talk about HR department, we should talk about the functional group and their ideologies are concerned. When it comes to informal groups, I told you, informal groups are stick to other than organizational goals, but strong influence is there. There are interest groups who have got common interests. Simple. Common interests live long. Common interests may be playing cricket, maybe drawing, maybe technologically interested, digital marketing. These are all the interest groups. Maybe playing PUBG, video games. Though I am telling tiny examples, but in the organizations, if you want me to talk about interest groups, a lot of common interested people are there, and with their common interest, they build up the activities and the events also, and which are even recognized by the organization. In fact, I'm talking about small companies. In the big companies, they will always encourage. But when it comes to friendship groups, they have become friends because of to conduct certain activities. Simple. Common interest means what? They are not built up with interests. Interests are there. Inbuilt interests are there. Those that are interested in cricket are becoming one group. But friendship groups are not like that. One social activity is to be done. It is announced. So we are going to do some social activity like blood donation camp is being conducted. So then when you go and join and donate blood or organize or help, that is nothing but a friendship group. You would like to believe that and you would like to take part in that. Not only social activities, it may be political also. People go and join in certain parties because of their beliefs on that party. And religious aspects also. There is an activity, Dashara activity is being done, and people go and join. Those who believe in Hindu activity, then they will join. Christmas is being celebrated. Those who believe in Christianity will go and join. These are all nothing but to talk about the values related to social activity, related to politics, related to religious, and these are all the common bonds and common body that we can talk about. When you talk about reference group, Reference is nothing but the social validation and social comparison. It is found by Charrington in such a beautiful way. Reference group means what? You should first of all go for your social validation. How do you value yourself? Justify your attitudes. How do you justify your attitudes is very, very important. That's called social validation. And when it comes to the second one, that is social comparison. You are there and against another person is there. You will compare. A lot of comparison is being done. Reference group is being done a lot. You will compare with other people. Always social comparison is being done. So reference group is associated with two things. One is social validation, that is nothing but justifying your attitudes. And second one is social comparison, that is nothing but evaluating yourself with others by rapid comparison, valid comparison. So groups and teams, hereby we can conclude. Groups and teams can enhance performance. Absolutely. It is well proven. If you are actively participating in the group, your participation will absolutely lead to enhance the performance. And group will also have every organization has customers. Customers are the kings and customers are the gods. When you are working in a group as an employee group, and absolutely, if you really work as a group, if you work as a team, if you work and your team performance and your team output will definitely increase the responsiveness to customers. The customer will be more benefited with that. And when you are alone, absolutely, ideal brain is devil's workshop. And an adage is there. As that adage tells, your ideal brain or your individual brain, I don't say ideal brain is equal to individual brain, but I can just assure you that the multiple brain is always better than an individual brain. With the standpoint of innovations are concerned, inventions are concerned, because you have all the chances to compare your brain with other brain, your ideas with other ideas. So very important thing, last thing is increase innovation. That is highly important. And satisfaction. Organization always, time and again, they'll go for a survey. Every now and then they'll go for a survey. The common survey being conducted by every organization for their employees is whether employees are satisfied or not. Because they are much afraid of retention. Employee may jump off. So when you really encourage the group, when you really try for the group development, when the group dynamics are quite positive, then there is always a chance of increasing motivation through the rewards, through the benefits, through the quantitative and qualitative benefits. And I'm sure that the employees will get high level of satisfaction. When you get all these things, when the performance is increased, when the customer is benefited, when the innovations are taken up, and satisfaction is there, what not is there? Everything is there. And absolutely, if an organization acquires all these things out of group performance, they will have a competitive advantage. Competitive advantage of performance, competitive advantage of customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. And there are a lot of innovations that the company is coming up with. So, how do you form groups? How groups are formed? The stages of group formation is all talking. It starts with forming, stage 1, storming, stage 2, norming, stage 3, performing, stage 4, adjourning, stage 5. How do you? You are isolated. Of course, after your job is done, means your education is done, and you are going to join in a big company tomorrow. That night, what you will think? All through the night, you will think, how can I join in the group? How do I start speaking with the group? How do I introduce myself to them? You sit before the mirror and you try to edify yourself, to introduce yourself. It is a mirror method. Farming starts with initiation of every individual. Members try to get to know to each other, and there are certain rules that should never be neglected, and they form also certain rules. I don't touch your nose, you don't touch my nose. First we start, whenever we go, we start with high respect, and we solicit respect from others also. Is what the initiation, that is nothing but to talk about farming. A confinement is there for us, a boundary is there. Previously we are out of boundary, and other person is also out of boundary. Now all the people who have been selected in that for that particular company are set to be in that particular boundary. Maybe the boundary is a particular company, company policy, company job, time restrictions, confinements. There are a lot of confinements and limitations are there. And within that particular limitations and confinements, how do you introduce to others, and how do you get introduced by others? It is very, very important. Second one is storming. You just cannot absolutely be so social at a stretch overnight. And people will not believe it also. People may think that over smart and over action. And there are certain people and overall members come to resist control by group leaders and show hostility. This is one of the very important point. Initially, they don't really like to be friends. They show hostility, means unfriendliness they'll show. They would not be completely controlled by their bosses. Here comes the storming. The ice has to be broken. That's what ice breaking. He is not completely opened. He is not opening up. Maybe he is taking time. It will take time. That's what he tells to himself. Since he wants to take much time, since the initiation of over friendliness cannot be done overnight, he wants to resist control by group leaders. And he wants to show unfriendliness. This is the stage. And this stage should be changed. This stage is there, and a lot of people, in fact, are as such. But a leader who is going to convert the group into team has to do norming. Here, norming leads to cohesiveness. All that the leader has to do is maintain, build relationship and feelings of cohesiveness. The third stage, norming, is fantastically that. He just warms up with a kind of activities whereby all individuals feel the importance of relationship and feel the importance of cohesiveness, and they get in touch step by step, slowly. But to what extent, or whatever the least possible time being taken by individuals, and the least possible time they will achieve, they will go and shift to performing. The next stage is performing. Storming to performing, and norming is needed in middle. Why? Because performing means what? Activity, work, job, task, functions. They are into the job. Before they are into the job, they should not come to the job with storming session. No. With hostility, nothing can be done. The hostility should be converted to cohesiveness. And with a feel of close relationship, and with a feeling of cohesiveness, with a feeling of freelanced world to work, then the work will be good. That's what the stage 4 and performing stage. Every work has a phase. Don't think that the work is going to be continued till you retire. The tasks are different, the works are different. Every time works are changed. When the works are changed, the team may be changed. You may have all the chances to get a transfer to one place to another place, one job to another job, one task to another task, one branch to another branch. And there needed adjourning. The group may disband either after meeting their goals, the task is finished, and because of the members' leave, they may adjourn. They may again leave all the confinements, get out of all the rules and regulations, and they can be individual. And by the way, they are participating in another group. These 5 are the stages that you must be experiencing before you come to college. Think of for the students who were about to join in the first year. On the last day, they were thinking how to get joined in the group. Somebody may be so unsocial, so idle. Some are ideal. There are 2 kinds of people. One is ideal, and some other are ideal. Ideal are the people, social ideal are the people, they are very freaky and they are talking to everyone. They are like a chatterbox. But there are certain people who doesn't want to, who somewhat insecure, doesn't want to talk with another person, doesn't want to respond, wants to show hostility. He may be confined to himself that I don't like this, I don't like this, I should not go like this, like this. Parameters, because of all those parameters created by they themselves, will not come out of the case and will not confront to any person and will not talk to any person. That is what the storming stage. A lot of must be there are certain people still they are in storming in your class. And norming stage, since you are young enough and your stage of coming to norming is very, very easy. Shortly you will develop. First G bolta hai. Then afterwards you will come down. Within the short period of time you will come down to array, yar. It is the shift from G to yar. It is what the clause is. I am just illustrating. It is not a rule. It is not a thumb rule that the shift from storming to norming is as G to yar. So yeah, what I would really like to tell, how hostility is being turned into relationship as well as cohesive. Then comes a performance. A lot of assignments are being given to you. Annual day, one assignment being given to you by the organization. Picnic, industrial tour, conference, seminars, a lot of activities in general being conducted by your organization, and they will really ask you to come and performance. And what is your role and what is your participation, your contribution? Are you a contributor? And if your contribution is good, then your support and your participation, because of you, the contribution rate of your to the team will really result and appreciated by the organization as well. And after the assignment is over, then again you will come back to school, you will come back to class, and you will seek for another task to be assigned by your teacher. So group structure, generally, I think I'm running out of time. Yes, I have 15 minutes. Yeah, group structure counted by 4 things. One is group size. Very important thing is group roles. Group roles are as important as what is the part that is being played by you. There are 2 very important things as far as role is concerned. It is the role perception. How do you perceive the role is more important. It is not receiving. Receiving, organizing, interpreting. That's what perception. I'm sorry. Receiving, organizing, and interpretation. That's what perception. Role perception is different. How do you perceive the role when a role is given to you? How do you perceive it? How do you take it? Positive or negative? A lot of people are there on a drama. In a drama, a lot of roles are there. Everybody wants to play hero role. Who will play villain role? Those who perceive it as positive will play villain role. As I am not talking about good and bad. I am talking about a role with more hard work, a role with less hard work, or a role with hard work, a role with smart work, a role with communication. Maybe a role with communication is frightened by a lot of people because they are supposed to communicate continuously like that. A lot of roles are taken up by the people with a good perception. A lot of people will reject them also. There is both. One is acceptance as well as rejection. But organization has an expectation on you. That is role expectation. One is role perception, role expectation. But you think yourself how others wants to see me in this role. How do they see me in this role? That is really what the role expectation is concerned. When it comes to norms, there are what we call a set of beliefs. Norms, generally we talk about norms. We should follow norms. That is nothing but to talk about an agreement, a belief. A belief shared by a lot of people is called a norm. Don't connect it to rule, regulation, procedure, that are all different. This norm is absolutely talking with in terms of what? In terms of beliefs being shared by all members. It may be a belief, it may be a feeling, it may be an attitude being shared by major group of people is called norms. They set their own norms because they believe in that. There are predictive norms, a common understanding. Everybody has got common understanding on one aspect. Then comes predictive norms. There is a rational norm. Though they believe or they do not believe, there are norms defining relationship. There are rationality behind it. You cannot deny that. Old age people has to be respected. You should respect. Ladies have to be respected. You should respect. That is a common and rationality is there behind it. Rationality is there means again you cannot go for quantification. Rationality with respect to our cultural aspect, it is there and we should respect because they are minor. So third one is control. Yes, there should be norms and all are there and one person, yes, as you know very well, one blot of poison make all the total, what do you call it as a total pot of milk. Yeah, one pot of milk may be disturbed and may be spoiled by a drop of a poison. Your group is performing very good. Your group norms are good. Everybody believes your group norms, but one person having come from outside joined in your group and disturbs. Are you going to regulate him or not? Are you going to block him or not? Are you going to control him or not? So then comes control norms. First, predictive norm. Second, rational norm. Third one, control norm, which is very, very important. When it comes to cohesiveness, I have got something to tell you about cohesiveness. A lot of cohesiveness is ultimate. Cohesiveness is a conclusion. If group cohesiveness is created, everything is good. Performance, it is a leading way. It is pioneering directly to performance. There are certain factors which are related to cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is a matter of cooperation, is a matter of support, is directly related to size. You know, you people must have learned line of control. It is very, very important to talk about how many subordinates are there. And the number of subordinates are increased. And in the management, what will be typical. The more the people, the more the subordinates, and the more hard the management would be. So group size, that is very, very important. And how effectively diversity is being managed. How effectively a lot of people having come from different diversities is quite evitable in an organization. Having come from different diversities, different qualifications, different demographics, different income levels, different places, geographies, different mentalities. These different ideologies are to be harmonized, are to be put in one line. How do you set wavelength to all these diversity people? That is what very, very important and leading way to cohesiveness. It should be effective. That's why I wrote it as effectively manage the diversity. How effectively you will manage the diversity of two people and amalgamate them towards the group and group performance. It is what very important factor, because a lot of people are there in the organization who are creating certain discrepancies in between the caste, in between the gender, in between the age, in between the experienced and inexperienced, in between qualification. All these discrepancies are to be cleaned away, are to be swept off. And third one, very important, is group identity and healthy competition. Yeah, that is very, very important. This is absolutely based on some ethical and moral concerns. There are certain, there won't be any kind of certain rules and regulations with respect to healthy competition. People are always in the race. In the race, how do you go? What called ethical and moral means what? There are certain set of standards that are supposed to be maintained. And there are certain substandards to hide standards are being created in many organizations. In fact, though technological innovations are trending nowadays, most of the government services even are being achieved and are being served well enough by technological devices. Still corruption is being found. Still corruption is being innovated with the technology also. So healthy competition is very, very important amongst your group. You try to create healthy competition is equal to healthy environment. And everybody should be identified. Everyone should be identified with respect to their own captivities, with respect to their own USP, unique selling proposition. Everybody has got one unique feature which others do not have. You should identify, prove him now, encourage him, and while being competitive with others, you just create a healthy atmosphere which will really get them to be in healthy environment. And a very important thing is what? Group success. Everybody talks about figures. Don't. When I was working for Dow India Limited long back, I did not achieve 1 month results. I did not achieve. I did not achieve my targets for 1 month. I was telling about. I should tell some cock and bull stories. I should give some lemon excuses, and I was beating out around the bush. The distributor did not. The distributor did not. Then my boss was telling only one word: better you let not yourself speak. Let your figures speak. Stop talking. Simple. Then I started working out my figures. My figures have to be grown up. My sales has to be grown up. And in the next month or so, after 2 months, I suppose my figures are stable. And he was telling that better you keep mum. Your figures are speaking better than yourself, he told. And I got very good incentives in those times. This is really what happening with success. When you are not successful, absolutely. What is the use of cohesiveness? It is an organization. It's not charity. And absolutely, your outcome, efficacy. People call that as efficacy. You are efficient, fine. You are fantastic. Your capabilities are too good. So you are efficient. Next one, effectiveness has to come. Results. Growth should come. Then comes efficacy. Desired results you should achieve. Whatever the results desired, objected by the organization should be achieved. That's what role expectation. What others want you to do should be done by you. What organization wants you to do should be done by you, should be accomplished by you. So as with all these things considered as factors influencing group cohesiveness, and with this particular group cohesiveness, group cooperation, group support, what you will get? Absolutely, your level of participation within a group will be explored like anything, accelerated like anything. Your level of participation is highly important. You will feel that you are at home. You will become why. A personality is why. What is why? You will take the work as a play. You are so ambitious. You will not be lazy. Level of conformity to group norms. Absolutely. Everybody will follow the group norms. Nobody is there to object. Everybody will become yes man, yes man, yes man, yes man. There is nothing like no man where the cohesiveness is increased day by day. And third one, emphasis on group goal accomplishment. Absolutely. Whenever the cohesiveness is there, cohesiveness with respect to organizational goals, then the impact of cohesiveness will absolutely show on the goal achievement. Goal accomplishment will be done automatically. This is what all about cohesiveness. And finally, characteristics of a well-functioning and effective group. Always how the group should be. And whenever you go for any organization that you are going to join tomorrow, I perhaps knowing the performances of you people would like to expect that all of you people would join in a very good company, very good perks, very good place, and it should be very good group. How? Very good group. You will select the group? No. You will join and cooperate with the group members. Then group will be a cohesive group. Cohesion is not made and you will vertical join. Cohesion is made after you join. So the group, the characteristics of group, a model group. How the model group? Model group of well-functioning and effective group. It's relaxed, comfortable, and informal atmosphere. Yeah, though the formalities are there, formal work is there. But if an informal atmosphere is created, like in the house, everybody is responsible. You just check in your college when the fan is on, nobody is there, nobody switch off the fan. But in the house, you will not let the fan running without what kind of person is there. If person is not there. Likewise in the hostels, you will always feel that let the lights on, let the fans on, let the water flow, let the water be wasted, let the food be wasted. Do you do all these things in your house? Do I do? Do we do? No, never. Because of the atmosphere is such. You will make such atmosphere, I'm sure that this kind of benefits will also be there. You won't have any kind of inhibition when it is informal. You will be frank enough when it is informal. You will expose in such a big way if it is informal. So atmosphere should be informal. The work is formal. And first of all, a group should be opened to the greater extent in such a way that tasks should be understood well. Otherwise, you will be in a soup and the group will go to hell. Will be in rain. Basically, when the task is complicated, people will not ask much times because of certain inhibitions. When the leader is autocratic and he is shouting on the people, and people will not ask any clarifications, even if they get some doubts. With that, they will start working with the inhibitions and with the doubts, and they will not be participative enough and they don't get complete performance while doing the work because task is not understood well. Very artificially he must have accepted, but with the heart, whole heart, from the bottom of his heart. The work is not accepted because he didn't understand it. And communication, third one, very important, is communication. What is the gateway of communication? Listening. Listening is the gateway of communication, and now all of you people, right, all the students from YouTube are performing that job. It is the gateway of communication. You are all listening to me. Likewise, in a group, first of all, very important thing is to listen carefully, to listen focused. If you don't listen focused, you cannot participate. First, you should listen, then you should take part, you should participate. And leader should allow all the people to express their feelings. All kind of feelings should be enabled to express. People express their feelings and their ideas, their creative structures, and there is so many things are there, and they first of all free to convince, free to convey. There are a lot of conflicts will come, a lot of disagreements will come, a lot of fights are also there. I told you, a lot of storming sessions being done around politics and chase power. I have seen a lot of disagreements, a lot of debates, discussions, strikes, laps. All these are there. Quite we see quite regularly. But group should be well prepared with such kind of conflicts or disagreement solution. So there is a conflict resolving management, and a group should always use that whenever there is a conflict. There are a lot of ideas where the ideologies are different, and ideologies are different when the debate is hot, and they are creating a hot atmosphere, and the group members or the leaders should be in a position to make all kind of conflict resolution management. The total group should be aware of all the operations and functions. That is a common minimum understanding. So I am doing my thing, you are doing your thing. It's a teamwork. How can it be a teamwork if I don't know what you are doing, if you don't know what I am doing? When it is a teamwork, whatever the work being done by Venugopal, me, should be known to my colleagues. It is so highly important. There is a central vertical system, central automation system is there, and a central processing system is there, where you are doing work at one place will automatically be known to another place. Technologically, it has become so easy to know what other people are doing. But at the same time, the common objective to be achieved, there may be some common tasks. For that particular common task, especially, let everyone know who are taking part in that particular task. Consensus decision making. Yeah, decision making should be taken as a basis of majority, generally. Everybody believes that I am right. Everybody believes that about their idea is always right. I know whenever I see into my mirror, I look great. But at the same time, I should also focus on others. I should also respect the ideas of others. If you don't respect and everybody debates on that, then go for voting, go for polling. And the decision making should be done on the basis of measure or on the basis of majority people have opted, on the basis of an element which has been opted by majority of people. Consensus decision making is highly honored everywhere. So these are all the common characteristics which you see in any group. If you are created with a group, take down all these things. Be relaxed, be informal, understand the task first. Listen if somebody is talking, then participate. You also don't be calm. Don't become like a sophisticated person like this, Vivekananda. As if you are an intelligent enough and you are not talking and you feel that silence is the best answer for no. Don't be that much smart. If you don't really like it, tell that. You should have the guts to tell that you don't like it. And with a rationality, you should be able to explain. People in the group should express their feelings and ideas with a high rationality. There are so many conflicts, and all these are quite common. Like a house which is having a lot of conflicts and disagreements between wife and husband has to come to one bottom line of what? Line of an agreement again. And everybody should be aware of the total operations of the group. What that group is formed for, what is the common goal of that particular group, and functions to be accomplished by that group is to be known by all. And majority take one decision should always be respected. Right, I am just concluding my session with a good word by Henry Ford. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. I'll tell and I'll conclude with one word, one proverb, which is quite common in the present scenario, that the total job of any person is laying in between two conditions. One is no problem. People think no problem. I have seen a lot of people who are working in banks and all those things. People used to think like that. No problem. We will see tomorrow. That is first condition. Second condition I have seen is so hostile. Do or die. Mind you, my dear students, tomorrow you are going to work. Life is always between two things. One is complacency, high complacency, that is no problem. Second one is high strict condition, mechanistic state. That is do or die. Life is in between these two. It all depends upon the organization that you join. It all depends upon the performance that you do in the group. Even in the group also, there are certain persons who take complacency, extremity of complacency, who takes job as I should do, otherwise I will be dead. Both are extremities, but plan in such a way. In these two lanes, in middle you plan it. I am sure that you will be succeeded. And I think running out time. Okay. Oh my God, it's already 10 minutes over. Thank you very much. In this regard, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to Chavan Saab, who is an old friend of mine, is kind enough to invite me, and Dr. Somanath, K.V. Somanath, who taught me everything, and he's my teacher, my philosopher, my mentor for a long period of time, and now he considered that I am suitable for teaching a lesson to you all, and if at all I did something better for you, and it is absolutely a regard that I get from my brother, that is Dr. K.V. Somanath. That is enough for me. Thank you very much. And over to Dr. K.V. Somanath.
Hello.
Thank you, Anya.
Chavan
Thank you. You can. Chavan sir, namaskar. Chavan sir, namaskar. नमस्कार साहब. After a long time, sir. कैसे हो साहब?
बहुत बढ़िया. चलो आज शिव कुमार आप आ गए, बहुत अच्छा लगा. और ये सोमनाथ की
it is our privilege, sir. We have the honor.
वो ठीक है.
Thank you, sir.
लेकिन
thank you.
सोमनाथ की वजह से मुलाकातें हो गई अपनी.
Right.
जैसे ही कोविड-19 जाएगा तो शिव कुमार और तू बिल्कुल वर्धा में आ जाना.
आ जाएंगे सर. जरूर सर, जरूर. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
बाकी कैसे? ठीक ना?
हाँ ठीक सर.
चलो ठीक. ये लो सोमनाथ की बात.
Everything is good.
Now I request our IQSC coordinator, Professor Parishkrit Agarwal, to interact with Dr. Venugopal sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
So for
Sir, good.
achieving any goal, when the group is involved, group cohesiveness is required. With that, ultimately the group goals cannot be achieved. Um, Actually, that dynamics talk about again we are dealing with human. So there is, as per the situation, the leader or the group member should tackle the situation, should believe themselves in order to achieve the objective. The session was very informative, sir. I had learned many new things about the group dynamics with this session. And I thank you for giving such an informative session to us, to our students. They are also watching it in YouTube live. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I
Dr.
have the high honor.
Dr. Venugopal, thank you very much for a live session and having a very good, highly experienced presentation of you and explanation of the topics under group dynamics. And you have given a live studies also based upon your experiences and observations in the past life of yours, as well as in the arena of corporate and industry and institutions. And I thank you on behalf of GS College of Commerce, Varda, on behalf of Dr. Chavan sir and myself and Agrawal sir of IQAC of our college. And I request you to be present physically after the COVID-19 scenario is over, along with Dr. Sivakumar, to have a more blessing to all of our students, as well as to take a part in our general activities as well as seminars and conferences. We request your gracious presence after the COVID-19 scenario.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir. It is our privilege, high honor to be with you all the time. If something is productive and the students are getting benefit, I will be the first person to be with you. And this is what the lessons I have learned from you and Chavan sir also. I should follow that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
the best. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, the body.